Good morning everybody from my underground car park and welcome to the BMW i3. I've been really enjoying coming down each morning and seeing the i3 in the car park. Something about the i3 just looks from a different planet to almost every other car. It's almost a sense of occasion just to look at the thing. Some people do find the looks quite polarizing. I put out a quiz on Instagram the other day and 80% of people said it was one of the weirdest looking cars they've ever seen. But personally, I'm preferring it to seeing something normal. It feels more of an occasion to see this in a driveway than something like a Leaf. So I quite like the look of the thing. I've got the car plugged in and on charge. This is actually the first time that I've had to charge the car in the week that I've been driving it. It's got this lovely blue indicator light around the plug, which shows you that the car is charging. When that turns green, it means the car is full, and the blue is a really nice contrast point with the blue hues on the car. One interesting question as well for anyone else who's living in an apartment complex. At the moment, I've just got the plug kind of snaking along the floor in an extension lead and then plugged into one of the ports near the apartment's air conditioners. So I think at the moment, my landlord is paying for this electricity. Worth calling ahead, if you are going to plan on living with an electric car in an apartment, make sure you can figure out how to route that electricity to your apartment, or just enjoy free driving until they tell you off. I'm giving the i3 back to BMW tonight, and I'm already feeling a little sad about that because this has been such a fun and interesting car to live with, but I haven't been able to drive it as much as I would have liked. So in order to kill two birds with one stone, it's currently 7:15 in the morning. I'm going to go pick up my brother, drive him to work, and we'll talk a bit about the car on the way. All right.
Yes, good morning.
How are you doing?
Can't complain.
It's good.
An i3!
i3.
You've been telling me for years you don't like the i3, and here you are in an i3.
Yeah,
Did you decide to finally give it a go?
I thought I didn't like the look of the i3, but I keep catching myself just in this past week looking at the i3 going, you know, it's actually kind of a cool looking thing. I don't mind it.
I think it's the blue. I've always been a fan of a highlight colour. That's why I bought my A-Class with the red seat belts and the red lipstick and the stripes.
The blue hues. If this had a blue seat belt, it'd be... I mean, what do you think of the look of this thing? Do you like the look of this thing or do you not like it?
I yo-yo.
Yeah.
I see it. I think there's this spec which has got, what's this one? It's on the larger wheels.
Yeah, this is the S.
In the dark colour.
It's the i3s, so it's got the wheel arches with the flares around it as well, which gives it a bit of a wider stance.
I think this is a good looking car.
Yeah.
There's an orange they do in the i3, which I think is really, really cool.
Yeah.
Dog. Ooh.
What dog?
Good morning.
Good boy.
It's a pretty berserk looking thing though, with these split sunroofs and...
Yeah, the front of it I love. The back is still... I have questions about the look of the back because it looks quite digital. It's got the screen kind of vibe with the single plate colour and the lights within it.
Probably at this point if we cut to some footage of you just showing that.
I'll do that, yeah.
It'd be clever.
It'd be quite good.
But it's still got your BMW kidney grills, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Do they do anything on an electric BMW?
No, because there's no vents in them. That was one of the first things I looked at because I thought, well, all the BMWs has got those grills. This is just a flat plastic panel over the top of them. So we were looking at the X7 not long ago, which had the enormous grills. It's these huge things.
Every other BMW is getting bigger and bigger nostrils.
And look what's behind us. I mean, it's an X something.
I can't tell anymore.
No, neither can I.
It's some amount of BMW.
Yeah, you know my theory. All BMWs for the past 7 years, the grills have been getting a little bit bigger, and it looks like the car is about to sneeze, like a and then eventually they're going to get so big the car will sneeze, they'll all go electric and go back to normal size.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So I plugged this car in last night. I'm going to give you a question. I'm going to cover up the dash. I got home, plugged it at about 11:30. It had 39 kilometers of range. And I plugged it into my apartment complex's power. How much range do you think it's going to have this morning?
What type of power point did you plug it in?
See, I forget you work in electricity. I plugged into the type that was underneath the air conditioning unit in my apartment.
Is that a
garage
3-phase connector, or is that just a standard wall socket?
Just a normal wall socket.
I don't think you'll have a full charge this morning.
Yeah?
I think on a standard wall socket like that, you need quite a long time to fill up a battery.
Yeah. That's what I learned this morning. I've got 97 kilometres worth of range.
Okay.
So it gave me
Not
60
enough.
kilometres. Well, only about 25% of the battery filled up in about 8 hours.
How far do you need to go today? How far do you need to go to work?
Round trip about 98 kilometres.
Right. But if this was your car, presumably they would install a proper charger.
Yeah,
they
they'd
put in
install
a
a proper
proper
space.
Type 2.
Yeah.
It would get to 100% overnight. It wouldn't be an issue.
The car's range overall is a little bit... Well, it's okay, it's good, and it's disappointing all at the same time. We've got a golden retriever up there.
Where?
Up there.
Yes!
But it does, on a full tank of battery, about 260 kilometres. And, you know, my driving style, I've probably gotten about 210, 220 kilometres.
It's not bad for
on
your
a
driving
full-
style.
I know, it's actually pretty decent. And it's totally fine, because living in Richmond, city trips, little short 10-kilometre bursts, it's been okay as a city car, but there is a little bit of concern. Looking at it last night, thinking, I've got 37 kilometres, I better charge it up, was more of a, what if I have to drive to mum and dad's today, or what if I have to go somewhere off in the shops that's 20, 30 kilometres away, then it's a round trip that exceeds the capacity of the car. So there's a little bit of a limitation if the car's not full.
But that's not a criticism of the BMW i3. That's the mindset you need to change when you own an electric car. You do need to
Yeah.
be thinking ahead just enough to know how much charge you're going to need the next day. If you jump in expecting that you'll be able to fill it up in 5 minutes, that's when you have a bad time.
Yeah, it's expectations, but it's also that I would have loved if this had 300, 350 k's of range. Like, that would have been absolutely spot on.
Does it have a low power mode like your iPhone?
Actually, no, that's actually one interesting question. What happens to an electric car when it goes flat? Like, do I go into a range extension mode? Does it give me, you've only got 10 kilometres left, so we're turning all the systems off? Or does it let me just keep driving until it stops?
I don't know. I've never pushed one to that end.
I really want to test it, but I know that it's the kind of thing where if I have to call and say, hey, I can't move the car, it's just going to piss people off.
Yes. You can pick up your car. Ooh. Quite a nippy little turning circle you've got there.
This turning circle's phenomenal. It's so good. You can just turn this thing on a dime. Like, I keep finding myself making minor illegal U-turns because I can.
Which is not normally something you can do with an electric car because of the whole skateboard type thing. I've tended to find they've not got great turning circles.
Yeah, that Tesla had a really bad turning circle. I was doing 7-point turns in all the car parks. This thing's just kind of, I can just turn it within the space of its own lane.
No, don't do that. Oh, no, you've done it.
Okay, yeah.
There you go.
I can do a U-turn within the space of 2 lanes. Exceptional. Really, really useful. That's why my theory on this car is that it's a brilliant, brilliant city car.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, and that's where it kind of ends. I can't tell if I'm driving a Mini Cooper or an SUV. Like, look, there's a Range Rover Evoque. We're bigger than the Evoque, so I've just stopped mid-traffic.
Stop mid-traffic.
I'm going to do that. Sorry. But that Range Rover Evoque is smaller than we are. And
That doesn't feel right.
No, it doesn't. It's
But
this
it is.
weird warped illusion. Like, the car is shorter than that. Granted, that thing is quite tight looking, but this thing is slightly bigger. It's got so much space on the inside. It's so room. Look how far the windscreen away is. Look how far away the windscreen is.
You're not wrong.
Can't touch it.
All right, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll give that a go. So where do you charge this? If you've only got a standard wall socket at home, where do you charge your
It's got a thing
i3?
on the key. This is something that I'm not completely sure of yet. It's got a thing on the key that says charge point. And I can go and take it to that and scan the little thing on the charge point pass, and it will let me plug it in.
So, can you, in the nav, can you find where you need to go to charge the car? Quick search, recent charging stations, favourite vehicle charging station.
Okay. Where is that?
Now turn into the second street on the right.
I think if you turn into the second street on the right, it'll find a way to get you there.
Thank you. But the Tesla one's quite good because that shows you all the charge points on the map, shows you how many bays are available. Am I going to have to pay to get into this fancy little hotel? You reckon it's in here?
I think it's the Olsen parking.
Is there another one available?
There's a marching band!
Is it a drumming kit thing?
I've never seen a marching band rehearsing in the morning.
They're all children. It's quite North Korea, isn't it?
That's the highlight of the day, the marching band.
Oh yeah, love a good marching band in the morning. Not a euphemism.
Now you can put your money where your mouth is and actually use the turning circle of this thing. I think you're about to do yourself an Austin Powers.
I think this is an Austin Powers moment. I mean, the turning circle is exceptionally good.
I don't think you're going to be able to get yourself out of this.
Oh. Oh man, I'm so close there.
Oh, Jesus.
Please make a U-turn if possible.
Not now, Becky.
We're trying! Have you named her Becky?
Yeah. There you go. It's a 3-point turn in the smallest of gaps. That's the benefit
Please make a U-turn if possible.
of this car's architecture.
Is that navigating to the right charger now?
Onto Chapel Street.
To be honest, I couldn't tell you. I could not tell you.
I've never met an iDrive system that I understand.
No. And that's a really good point to talk on.
You have reached your destination.
No,
we
we
just
haven't.
left our
Is
destination.
on the left.
No. The user interface on BMW's never been great.
So what are its competitors then?
Well, here's the interesting thing. I was looking up last night, reading different car reviews, looking at what its competitors are. And we're still in the space with the i3, where people talk about its competition as what other electric cars are on the market, which means that you approach this having to want an electric car first. What I'd love is to see this car competing with a B-Class and an X1 and comparing this car on all of its merits to other cars in its actual physical class. Like how you see the Model 3 is being compared to, on performance, things like the M3 or things like the Alfa Giulietta and other cars like that. We've kind of got to get to a space where you get an electric car because it's better in every way than a normal car, not just because it's an electric car. It's like that link you sent me the other day where this guy, what was his name?
Oh, Daryl.
Daryl had
Oh.
he woke up one morning with a bit of a cold and he had the sniffles, and that was the reason he decided to buy an electric car.
But he's doing a disservice to the industry when that's the headline that goes out there.
Yeah.
A tickly throat is the reason he bought an electric car.
If Daryl had a tickly throat, he should have bought a Strepsil, not a Mitsubishi.
It's a disservice to the industry when that is the main reason
Yeah.
that you should go and buy an electric car. I think once people realise that they're just better at being cars, that's when we're going to hit
Yeah.
a turning point.
Which is why I have some reservations about the way this thing looks, because it looks so of the future, like they're trying to remind everyone it's electric. I'm looking forward to the day where you can just go into BMW with an amount of money,
Now
and they will
turn
say,
right.
okay, you can have the X2, but you can have the X2 with the 2-litre engine, or you can have it with the 2.5-litre engine, or you can have the premium one, which is the X2E, and it will have the electric drivetrain, because they'll look through the specs and think, okay, electric is better in every single way. It's smoother, it's faster, it's got more torque, it's got more range. I'm looking forward to a time where all electric cars are so normal that you just buy an electric car because it's the better thing to do.
I think, however, if you give people the choice between the same car with petrol, diesel, electric, whatever it is, people will just default to what they know and whatever's
Yeah.
easiest. I think at some point these cars are going to have to
Now
continue
left
being
onto
a
Cleveland.
little bit experimental
Mm.
until they get to the point where BMW or whoever it is can hands down just do a hard change
Yeah.
and say, nope, now we've decided electric is better. If you're buying this car, it's going to be electric.
Yeah,
because
which-
if we continue to give people the choice,
You have reached your destination.
They're just
Your
gonna default.
Destination is on the left.
sorry for interrupting you, they're just going to default to what they know and what they've always done before.
You're right, which is why I do have a bit of a feeling that this car might be half engineering project, half car.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I do feel like a lot of this is going to filter into normal BMWs. If this was a Mini Cooper, this would be my favourite car in the world. If this was just a normal Mini, looked like a Mini, spec your own colours, it had this kind of torque, this kind of turning circle, this kind of zippiness, it would be the best car.
Now, you don't have this in a petrol car because you can always see where the petrol station is.
Yeah.
Here we're really having to look
Where's
to
the
find where this
charging
charge point is.
Is it in there?
Is it in the Fresh Sunday Roast? Richmond Union Bowling Club.
Is it in there? I
No,
feel like
that
I've
looks
gone
like a
way too
private
far
car park.
back. Is there an app that tells you charge point
Oh,
things?
no, there is.
While you are.
The PlugShare app says there is no charger in our current location.
Really?
But BMW
If they think otherwise.
telling us that there is. I think if you just give me 1 hour, I'll figure out how to use the iDrive.
That's fantastic. It definitely says Gleedle Street. I don't know what street this is, but it looks like a Gleedle.
Your destination is on the left.
So,
There are
the charge point app says there is not a charger at this location, whereas iDrive tells us otherwise. And that's my problem with built-in nav.
Please turn
Right, since we're not getting electricity, I need energy. I need a coffee.
Let's do that. Just wriggle this. Coach door. That's actually quite easy to get into. Yeah.
You can't get out now. I didn't think that through, did they?
That's your one. That's right. Did I tell you I've switched to almond milk?
I heard you mention almond milk when you ordered your coffee. Why have you done that?
Well, you know, if you're driving an electric car.
Yeah, should be drinking almond milk. But why, really?
No doctor's orders.
Okay,
Yeah.
no lactose.
Yes. Well, I tried soy, and soy just tastes lumpy.
Yeah, it does.
Almond milk manages to actually still have the consistency of real milk,
Yeah.
but doesn't give you the shits.
I still don't know if I'd, or who I'd recommend it to, or if I'd recommend it to people. The one thing that you can't ignore with this car is the price of the Model 3. Before Model 3, this was the premium daily driving zippy SUV kind of electric car to have. It's more that now that the Model 3 is available in Australia, you've got to compare the price, you've got to compare the specs, and you've got to compare the software. And this is a $79,000 car.
That's a lot of money.
The Model 3 starts at about 72, 73. Granted, you got to pay a little bit more to get the autopilot upgrades and all that. But
You're getting 400 and something kilometres of range
Yeah.
out of a Model 3, aren't you? 460, I believe.
you're doing really. Is that the long range or the standard?
That's the standard.
That's the standard.
That's the entry level
Yeah.
model I believe you can get in Australia.
My feeling about this industry is that everyone thinks that the future of electric cars is about electric drivetrains. My feeling is that it's about software. And the only company that's really good at software and user interface right now is Tesla. And they are, I think, 5 years ahead, in the same way that, you know, everyone thought the BlackBerry was the future, because you had this smartphone with all these keyboard buttons on it, and you had
Right.
email, and you could do music, and you could do
Right.
internet. And then Apple came out and said, no, we've got real software, big screen, and it has all these applications that continue to evolve over the years. Like, there's a feeling I have that if you buy the Tesla, which granted is cheaper, better range, and has autopilot technology, it will drive itself. This doesn't even park itself. It's got wonderful benefits, but Tesla's quite a long way ahead on the autonomy software, and that will continue to be updated. You can get out in the morning and the car's got new stuff in it, whereas this already feels like it's stuck in kind of 2013, because that's the gear and the software that BMW had when they first started making the car.
Is that a problem?
I think for me it would be a problem. I'm enjoying it, but I just feel like I'd be spending too much on the wrong car if I bought this and not a Model 3. Right, we're at your office now, aren't we?
Yep.
Don't go, that's not a gap. He's got it. He only went and did it.
He's only gone and bloody done it.
Dog.
A lot of dogs out this morning.
It's a good spot
It's
for
a
dogs.
good morning to be a dog.
Right.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.